Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of Live from the Living Room, TRT. I am your host, Big Rand, along with my homeboy.
Haha, the Woody Woo man. Welcome.
Tony Tones in his house. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. And tonight, what we're talking about is criminal justice reform. Criminal justice reform. That is the topic of the night, ladies and gentlemen. What I do when I put the camera? Topic of the night.
Criminal justice reform is the topic of the night. Oh, man. Oh, here we go. It's going to be, as they say, one of them shows.
Mm-hmm. Oh. I'm sorry, I had to take a drink. I was thirsty. For those who have seen us in a while, what's happening?
Welcome.
And good evening. Welcome aboard to the visual. Anyway, tonight's show is about criminal justice reform. And I just want to say that criminal justice reform in the United States is aimed at fixing perceived errors in the criminal justice system, which I think that's kind of crazy. And I think a lot of people wanted to know why we brought it up or why is this such a topic. Well, as we were doing the research, Tone actually came up with a story that I thought was kind of cool, too, about Kim Kardashian. So we went a little further.
Yeah, it wasn't really a story. It's something that she's doing. And on a positive tip, I didn't have too much to say about her in the past, but she is doing some positive things, and just want to give a shout out to her.
Well, I like the
fact, best.
Right. I like the fact that she's following, because there's a lot of people now who are trying to fight for a lot of innocent people in prison, which I think is real cool. That hasn't happened in a long time. It really hasn't happened in a long time.
I think it was a long time coming.
Yeah. Yeah, well, you got a lot of people who've been innocently accused.
Wrongly accused?
I mean, wrongly accused, but I said innocently.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, forgive me.
Well, that's why it's live in the living room.
Mm-hmm. We make mistakes. But I think it's important for us to talk about, because I think, it helps a lot of people who are definitely coming home, those who are being wrongly convicted, they're having their stuff turned around. And I think having the criminal reform system, I think it helps out a lot. I even think with the drug policy, it's a little lenient. It's being fair. I'm hoping that they can work on that. That'll lead up to getting rid of the 3-strike rule. So,
I think that's kind of broad as far as that's for while you're inside and also while you're out. They have certain programs that they come out with, but its purpose is to make the adjustment back to society, hopefully a positive adjustment. So the energy behind everything has to start with the individual getting released. He got to want to do the right thing, and they supposed to give you the steps to do the right thing and to stay out and be productive in society, as they call it.
Do you think it needs to be refined, though? I know the criminal justice system, it doesn't always work for everybody all the time.
Well, nothing works for everybody all the time.
Yeah.
They just trying to, I guess, bring about a system that works better, more accurate.
So they passed a new bill. It said once signed into law, thousands of inmates will be eligible for immediate sentencing reduction and expand early release program. Going forward, the effect will grow as thousands of new offenders receive reduced sentence and enter a changed prison system. You know what? And I'm going to tell you why I kind of brought this up. That's okay. I'm going to tell you why I kind of brought this up. Because I kind of feel like they're redefining, a lot of the bills are redefining the laws that the bill is supposed to stand for originally. And people have to pay attention to the old days, like the Jim Crow laws and things like that. And I know people think I'm crazy, but just look at if you look up the Jim Crow laws and what it's about, you see damn near the same damn thing.
Well, it's change.
Everything
goes through a change.
Well, they changed it for your rights, so I can understand that. But this is crazy. You basically giving like, here it goes. Jim Crow laws were state and local laws that enforce racial segregation in southern United States. Mm-hmm. All were enacted in the law 19th and earlier centuries by white Democrat-dominated state legislators after the Reconstruction period. Basically, what they're telling you is that after they reconstructed a lot of things, this law came into pass. Now, Jim Crow has 4 laws. Let me just read. Let me see if I can find them. Okay, here we go. The state of Tennessee ended 20 Jim Crow laws between such, including 6 requiring school segregation, 4 was outlawed miscegenation, I don't know what that means, and 3 with segregated railroads, 2 requiring separation for public accommodations. Now, this is why I brought up the Jim Crow law for public accommodations on which mandated segregation on streetcars. Now, let's just forget the streetcar parts. I'm using the prison reform laws as jails. Are our jails not segregated?
Are they segregated?
Segregated. What did I say? Segregated? Segregated.
Are the jails segregated?
Mm-hmm.
Well, they try to keep certain parts separate, such as certain gangs, things like that. They try to keep them separate.
But they are separated within the Latinos, the Mexicans.
No, not really.
Yeah, Aryans.
Not really. As far as gang-wise, they probably try to do that.
But as far as culture-wise, as far as ethnic groups, it doesn't matter.
And then you got to go depend on which branch of correction you're talking about, from the minimal or to the
max.
To the max, yeah, exactly.
Okay, so the Jim Crow laws basically don't apply around the criminal justice reform. Am I reaching a little bit here?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, because sometimes I can reach. To me, I just think it applies.
Mm-hmm.
I think it applies, especially when they're trying to put in a new criminal act. I just think it applies. It basically see, what they're telling you is that they're not giving you anything except for they're giving the people the food program. I don't get what's the reform, because nothing has changed. That's what I'm saying.
So you think the changes that they're making now are not is no different from then?
Well, what's adequate about the change?
Well, they're going to lower.
Criminals are still having hard times getting jobs and everything else.
So is that the fault of the individual, or is that the fault of the system?
The system.
You think so? So you think there's no jobs available out for individuals coming out of jail?
If a man does his time,
mm-hmm.
is it fair to him to put on an application where he's been within the last? Because most applications are actually where have you been in the last 3 years.
Okay. They want history of employment within those years.
Right.
And then if you don't have it, they want a reason why.
They want a reason why.
Okay.
Now, he has to put down a certain part if he's locked up. I understand.
Okay.
But they also
have you ever been convicted
of a crime?
Right.
But that's the same thing.
Right. Right. I agree with you.
And my whole point is, do you think that's fair?
Yeah, they want to know that at these days and times, you want to know who's working for you.
But these two things are what stops people who come home from getting jobs.
But that's why they have these reform systems, and they deal with the employment agencies and jobs that they give incentives for hiring individuals who are ex-cons.
Okay, I'll give you that, because they do have certain institutions and places where you can really go to get yourself together.
Isn't that part of the reform?
I don't know.
From what I'm understanding through studies, they have a program. I'm looking at one program that says the What is the First Step Act.
Is the reform an apology for the wrong conviction?
I don't know. I think it's a step just to move forward. They're not claiming any guilt. How about that?
How about it?
How about that? Nobody's claiming any guilt. They're just trying to move forward.
They're just trying to move forward.
They're trying to move forward with something that's positive. Hopefully, it maybe block out whatever mistakes was made. But mistakes can't be made when you get individuals for doing large amounts of time for something that should have been maybe less than half of that. That's just part of the fight for, equal rights.
Now, here's the big question: if you ask them to redefine themselves to be in society, why they're not allowed to vote?
I think there's is there a period for that? There's a time period for that.
That's the reason why I brought it up.
What is the time period?
Because you can't have criminal justice reform, but then tell a person he's not actually a citizen. Especially after he does his time, he does what you ask him to do.
And he has the waiting period before he can vote again.
And waiting period before he can vote again.
Okay.
But what's the wait? Why? Why should he wait?
Why? Because that's the law of a non-sovereign state.
You ain't never lie about that shit right there. No.
See, a sovereign state, skipping over to that for a minute, can see a wrong in the decision that's made on someone's life and change it.
As a person who's never been to prison, I can't really talk about what coming home is like. I'm pretty sure it's rough. I'm pretty sure it's tough. The first thing you have to adjust to is family, then life outside of the walls.
No, you skipped the most important one. You got to adjust to self.
About self. Why self first?
Because you was living in an element where it was all about survival of self first. So when you make that adjustment, you got to understand, you do got family. You got to be considerate to the ones that's going to allow you to either live with them, or that by you going to jail, you took from them. You took from them. You took them away. You took yourself away, I should say.
Out of the situation.
So any contribution or not even it has to be financial, but anything you was given, you might have been the one to take the kids to the park. You're not there no more. So their lives was altered. In other words, when you go to jail, just like when you die, you alter lives.
But see, my whole thing is, how do you reform all of that? Like, what should be the first thing that should happen to a person who's coming home from doing 10 plus? Should the first thing he do should be to see a psychiatrist, to put his social membranes back?
No, because if he was in
Facebook for a minute. Yeah, I'm listening.
If he was in population,
right?
If he was in population, then he's been dealing with people,
right?
So it's not like he's been secluded in a cell by himself for 10 years. He's probably seen news. If he had family, he had communication.
It's still not adjusted to the outside, because the person.
The adjustment is how to start again with a job.
But the person the person you share the cell with, he's not he ain't adjusted to no outside. He in there just like you.
Right. That don't mean. I mean, you talking about 10 years, correct?
No,
you said 10 years. Somebody
I'm
came
saying
home doing
10 years, but I'm also saying that the person has to come home.
Right.
He has to come home. He has to adjust. What is the first thing he should do to adjust? And you said self, which I agree.
Right.
He should adjust self, but my whole thing is, how can you adjust self when there's no way to help a person to adjust themselves? I think that's the biggest problem.
That's what he has to do. He has to adjust self. The only help he should get provided with is the means of living, if he can't get it from family, to get there. All the motivation has to be with him. They have programs within incarceration, as you know. People came out of there with degrees. Came out of jail with degrees. So the level of education is not limited in there. You have access to books and learning utensils.
And you think what they're doing now is helping these people become better? Because what about people who become reoccurring?
It's adjusting them.
It's all, so a person who has a reoccurring situation, that's all on that person.
Yeah. How can you put it on somebody else?
I'm not putting it on nobody
No, I'm
else.
just saying you can't put a person's fate on someone else unless they're judged unjustly. The positions that we're in life, we can't put on someone else, even, not even the person that we live with, lay with, eat with, all of that.
You know what? I get what you're saying, but I think they should leave that part of the reform to the people who are actually who go through that. That's just like a person can't leave. Well, you know these people who pass these bills for prison reforms. How can you pass a bill and on something that you have no idea about? It's like, you know what? This is a prime example. I'm about to open up for a minute.
But before you open up, the bill came from
Go ahead.
the ones that know about it.
I understand that.
Okay, so go ahead.
But I'm telling you that the people who vote on it
Right.
should not be people who have never been through it. In other words, what I'm saying to you, it should be something that should be shared by ex-convicts only. And the reason why I say that, because it's a bill for them. Why shouldn't they be allowed to vote on a special bill that's made for them? I think the point is that when we have bills that are being passed, and we know it's for a certain amount of group or a certain amount of ethnic people, why are we not allowed to vote on that bill?
But that's not just for them.
Criminal reform is for anybody coming home from prison or in prison, right? In the program.
I'm not saying it's not just for them.
It shouldn't be for citizens.
Wait a minute.
Go ahead.
That benefits citizens.
No, it shouldn't. But go ahead, you're right.
Go ahead.
Let me know.
Them adjusting properly prevents crime, prevents re-entry into the system. You don't think that helps society? You don't think that helps society to help them adjust instead of helping them getting another gun and putting it into somebody's head?
I'm going to go on what you went on. That's up to the individual.
But the guidance is there. Because they're giving you the guidance to get there if you want to go there.
What I'm saying to you is, if you had a group of people voting on a bill that was for them, in other words, the criminal reform justice bill is for the people who are criminals, right? For people who are in prison, people coming out of prison, or people that got caught up in the system.
Okay.
Period.
Yes, and their families are involved with that.
Okay.
So
forget about the family.
Okay.
We're talking about the people who are in the system. They should not be allowed to vote on this bill either. That's what I'm asking you. Why are they not allowed to vote on a bill that's for them? It's the same thing as they're passing a civil rights bill, but we're not allowed to vote 2 years later.
No, because they
So then how can
wait a
it be-
minute.
Go
Wait a
ahead,
minute.
go
They're
ahead.
not allowed. You got to listen to what you said prior, because they're not allowed to vote because they lost their rights being incarcerated.
I'm not even talking about the right to vote. This is not a presidential.
I know, but I say that to say that they lost rights.
But this is not that type of bill that requires right. This is a type of bill that requires signature to pass to become a bill.
And you said why they don't have the right to do that.
They should have the right to be able to sign
They
it.
lost their rights by being incarcerated. I'm not saying this is my words or my feelings, but that's the law. That's what they've given up by going against the law.
So then now you're asking these people to be moderate citizens. See it? What I'm trying to say is I don't get how you can tell people that you're doing a prison reform, but then the same people that you're trying to help, so-called, you telling them that they're not allowed or they don't have the privilege to sign this petition, even a petition to say, look, we need to pass this bill. This bill is not right. This is what it should be.
I don't know. They might
This is what I'm saying.
rights.
So now you have people who sit on the panel who don't know what it's like to the conditions of prisons because they've never been there. That panel should be reform prison members. Well, I shouldn't say prison members. It should be reform criminals.
Convicts or...
It shouldn't be just however you describe it. I don't want to sound disrespectful, but you know what I mean. Yes. They should have the opportunity to sit at the top of that bill and say, yes, let's try and pass this bill. We don't even have that. So how can you say this is criminal reform? This is not. This is what you need to get your tax breaks. So if you put this money into this program, this is what you get. It should be this way. That's what I'm getting.
And that's why you feel this was developed?
I feel like this was a developed bill, just like the Jim Crow law and just like the amendment. I feel like they're all bills to change part of the Constitution and the labor laws.
Okay, now I would agree with you if it wasn't beneficial. I would agree with you. But this, as you said, this is beneficial to the individuals getting out.
It just so happens to be that the program,
and not even getting out,
but it works for the individual who wants to go that route.
Right, but as I was looking into it, it's not even about the ones getting out. It's about getting reduced sentences.
And I mean, I'm all for that. I'm all for a person trying to reduce his time and things like that. That's all. That's perfect. But what I'm saying to you is that they're not allowed to sit at the top of this bill.
No.
It's just like it's like you and me. We're making a decision. Say we were part of a union, and we're making a decision for our workers, but they're not be able to vote on it. But you represent me.
Right.
That's not fair. You can't use the word.
But that's why you have a representative.
But then don't use the word criminal reform. Because you're not reforming. See, my whole thing is you're not allowing them to be involved. You only allow them to be a subject to the program.
They don't have to be.
No.
It's not a choice. It's a choice.
You automatically make the person subject to the program because it's a release program. You automatically involve. Now, if you don't follow, that's on you.
You don't have to be a part of no program.
Yes, you do. When you're released,
don't.
When you're released, you're not. When you're released, you're part of what? Isn't it probation or parole?
Parole.
Okay, so that's not a program. That is the same thing. Look up. Okay, I'm just saying.
I never known it to be the same thing.
Okay, well, what is parole?
Parole is an officer that the individual.
I didn't say parole officer. I said what is parole. I'm gonna look it up.
Okay, go ahead and look it up.
I'm gonna look it
I
up.
know what a parole officer does.
Hold on, we're gonna take a commercial break.
That's a
while
good
we
one.
are on the commercial break.
Yeah, that's a good one.
We're gonna find out what parole is. Randy Tom, we'll be back right after this.
Woody woo!
Live from the living room. Big Rand, Tone, Lord, gotta be live. Live from the living room. Big Rand, Tone, Lord, gotta be live. Live from the And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, welcome back.
Welcome. Busy.
See what you come back with now.
I'm not gonna come back. No, I had to look up parole.
Okay, what you got?
Okay, hold on. I'm about to read it to you. So it says, parole is a permanent release of a prisoner who agrees to certain conditions before the compilation of the maximum sentence period, originating from the French parole, whatever that means. I don't care. Associated during the Middle Ages, they'll just tell you that. So basically, it's the same thing. They have to sign it to agree to a certain condition.
Right.
That's the same thing if you was running a program. Oh, here, you got it right here, see?
Okay.
So there's basically no different.
No different from what?
It's no different from having a criminal. A parole is a criminal part of the criminal reform program. Is it not?
System.
Yes.
I would say that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
I
that's
would
what
say
I'm
that.
telling you.
Okay. So what's the problem?
Because it stinks.
Stinks for who? I wanted it explained. It stinks for who? The purpose of a parole system, or what part stinks? That's what I'm trying to understand.
In the United States, courts may specify in a sentence how much time must be served before a prisoner is eligible for parole. This is often done by specifying an intermediate sentence of, say, 15 to 25 years or 15 years to life. The latter type is known. So, in other words, he's not, and when you're in the parole system, I guess you're not eligible for the program of being reformed unless you're doing a certain amount of years.
No, that's as you said prior.
That is part. You just said that that's part of the reform program.
That's what I was going to say.
Go ahead. I'm gonna let you.
You
talk.
just said that.
Go ahead.
It is part of it.
So
because
in other
it's
words,
to help. It's one of the parts of the agencies that's to help you stay on track, keep track of you, make sure you stay on drugs by urinalysis, things of that nature.
you see, I'm trying to explain to people how all this stuff ties in to the Constitution.
Yeah.
And how they change things when they realize that they might be violating your civil liberties, not even your civil rights. Because people first, they cry civil rights, but they know what that is, but a lot of people don't know what civil liberty is and human rights are. They get those two totally confused. Right here, this prison reform program, look up the word civil liberties, and we're going to get into that right now so everybody can understand why they're having this program set forth and the money that it brings to reform prisoners. Because you put these... how do you expect a prisoner to reform and take care of himself when you're paying him minimum wage? But yet you're getting money...
But this is a government that is giving you something. You have to throw that in there. Some governments like get released from Mexico or some way and see how much prison reform you get.
Well, Mexico should have a better federation.
Well,
we have people who buy into this federation. It doesn't. My whole point is that you're asking people to work minimum wage, but you're not giving them no raise. You're not giving them. And I understand that. I understand that this is what you get coming out. So where's the rest of the money going? Because it's a program. And I'm pretty sure the government gives money for the program for the people who run the program.
Of course.
So where's the rest of the money goes?
To the people who run the program. You just said it yourself.
But you have to pay these people.
You just said where the money going.
Wow, man.
So they working for free because it's nonprofit?
I must have a bad understanding about prison, about criminal reform. I must have to really go back and...
You have to go to the need for it. What's coming out of prison?
Because I'm not understanding how they can reform something that they're not giving.
They are giving you.
What are
they're not giving you Okay, and they also have halfway houses that help you adjust. There's plenty of programs that can help you, a person getting released from incarceration. They have programs that can help you.
I'm sorry, man, but if you're a person who comes home and you're making minimum wage, how is that helping?
But if you're a person in a cell making $1.25 an hour, how does that help you?
Because you don't have nowhere to spend it. You don't have to really pay rent. You don't really have to go out and buy certain things.
I've seen them provide housing for people. They will provide you a housing. You might have to go through the shelters, but it's part of the system. It's a system.
I'm going to take your word for it.
No, you ain't got to take my word for it. Take the word of plenty of people that come home from jail today and tomorrow. When they come home, if they don't have family to go to, they have to go in a halfway house, first of all. And then from there, try to adjust. You get to go out on jobs, but still have some place to rest your head and eat food at the end of the day.
Listen to this. For some prisoners, especially those that have spent years or decades of their lives locked up, getting out comes with a mixture of overwhelming joy and anxiety. They often want to start over, but they don't know how to achieve that. They need somewhere to live, to work. They need counseling, but have limited resources. Some prisoners are released with only the clothes on their back, $10 to $200, and a bus ticket to the state line.
This is what I'm telling you.
Life on the outside can be a huge challenge, so hard that many prisoners fail at it and end up back behind bars before long. So my thing is, how the hell are you reforming criminal reform if you're still having the same
Now,
problem?
where is that? What state is that?
This is not a state. Okay, let me see.
So you got to go by states because different states have different laws.
Okay, hold on. You asked a good question. Let me get it. This is coming out of, I don't know where this it's called HuffPost.
Well, if it ain't nothing we heard of, it's definitely not New York or the tri-state.
It doesn't say that because it does have all New York stuff printed up around it, so I'm not sure. If you know HuffPost, I don't know
I don't know what that is.
HuffPost.
That's a program?
HUFFPOST. That's a login. I'm on a website. These programs are helping prisoners live again. This is an article
Say it again. H-O?
HUFFPOST. HuffPost.
Why does that sound familiar?
It do sound familiar.
Mm-hmm.
It says these programs are helping prisoners live again on the outside. Matt Farner. That is the article by Matt Farner.
The headquarters is in New York. I do apologize.
That's okay. It's all right.
Editor Lydia Polgreen.
Now this says that this program some people they're having a hard time. Now you say, okay, now here you go. This is a good point that you just made. In Louisiana, the state's reentry court program allows the state's younger inmates who qualify to learn a trade from plumbing to welding to culinary art. It also provides them with hours of class on anger management and communication. The state has also launched regional reentry programs offering similar service to inmates in local prisons.
I tried to tell you.
Now, my whole point is, but you still having a turn. You still having a turn out of reoccurring. You still having.
You're gonna have that regardless because people. That's just like somebody stops smoking cigarettes. They'll stop for a little while and wind up going back.
Okay,
people have a habit. People get. I've known individuals that been in and out of the system so long that they don't know no other kind of way. They actually did a crime to go back to jail, but stood there waiting for the police.
What I'm asking you is what went wrong in the program to make them go that?
It might have not been the program. It could have been an individual.
Individual's not ready for the outside.
No, the individual was ready when he got released, but couldn't take it once he got outside. I've seen that.
Okay, so then what can
family rejection, all that. There's certain things you can't do, but they're just making things available for the percentage that can achieve through this program. There's a lot of rejection when you coming home. There's a rejection of the woman that you was with got somebody else.
That ain't funny.
It's not. Okay, another one is, okay, you were staying with mom. You can't stay with mom right now. Mom didn't have a boyfriend when you left. Mom got a boyfriend now. You got to get your own. It's a lot of rejection coming out of jail. And a lot of expectations from the individuals that are locked up for things to be the same when they get out here.
So maybe they should change the reform to reoccurring too. What about the reoccurring? So you don't help the reoccurring?
Everybody gets help, but you got to want help. Just like an addict in the street. They always say, oh, I'm not going to get high no more. I'm not going to high no more. They can go to church all they want, but then they decide they're going to get high again.
Should they get rid of the 3-strike rule?
Nah, not really. Certain crimes, I mean, damn.
I mean, you think the 3-strike rule is necessary?
On certain offenses, like murder. Senseless murders, you just senselessly murdered somebody or a couple of people. You did 25, you came home, or you even did copped out to 15, came home, and then you killed some more people, and then find out you killed some more people, and you think three times is not enough?
My thing is, if you go put a person in jail 3 times
for the same crime,
no, but my whole thing is.
And like I said, it depends on the crime.
Should they build a prison just for
lifers? If you
lifers?
ask my personal opinion.
Should they build a prison just for lifers?
They do have prison just for lifers. Sing Sing was one, I believe.
That was prison for people who were doing
life.
I'm talking about, no, they were people like 25. I'm talking about a prison where you never coming home.
Well, I'm sure they do have those.
A prison where you know you're never ever I'm serious.
I'm sure they do have that.
Because maybe you should take these prisons that are like that for these people you know are not coming home, and maybe you should
do what?
Change the concept of the prison.
What
this
do you
is
mean?
Me thinking.
Example.
maybe you should bring the outside in.
What do you mean?
Chinese restaurant, grocery store. I mean,
For the ones that's lifers, that's what you're saying?
I mean, really, what are they gonna do? Rob the? Cause see, my whole thing is if you're inside, and Lord knows the prison grounds are big enough where they could run those type of programs, where you can have merchants have stores within the program. They're making money at the prison.
Listen,
They're not leaving. I get it.
I don't think you do.
Man, people think because
I'm
you're in prison, you gotta be whipped in the back. Go ahead.
You gotta hear people first before you say what a comment is.
You're right. Go ahead.
Now, you telling me a man that tied up a whole family, raped his whole family in front of the father, deserves Chinese food?
Listen, man.
Those are the crimes you get, and that's never getting out.
As much as you can think it's okay to punish your kind,
Go ahead.
God always has the last judgment. I don't care if the man turned out to be a savage. Everyone deserves the right to correct themselves. The person he or she is never coming home from prison. There's something
How
wrong.
do you correct yourself from that?
You can't correct yourself from that.
Okay, go ahead. You just
This
said
is why I
everybody deserves
asked
a
you
chance to
earlier,
correct themselves.
should they have a reform for the inside?
They have reform for the inside to get you ready for when you are released.
No.
Okay, what are you talking about?
A reform, a criminal reform for people who have recurring on the inside, who keep coming back. For the
Okay.
people who are on that third strike, they're never going home.
Okay. They should have reform for them.
They should have a certain type of reform for them. Getting up, going to college, and all that is great. That's fine. But I think they should try to bring part of the outside world in. And I'm not saying that you should have you should give them a city. But I'm saying if you give them let's think of what could a person that could, like if you, and I'm reaching with the Chinese restaurant, but I'm saying if you put a grocery store, which they have, they call them canteens. But I'm saying if you actually let a person like he's actually going to a grocery store outside, and I know you really can't do that, but let's just say, what if you can give them within the prison? You can put a mall inside the prison. Now these only could occur for people who are not coming home, because the money can transfer within the prison.
Where's the money coming from?
Where does the money come from when they work?
They don't get money for all of that.
Where does the money come from when they work?
You can generate money in jail. It's just
Where
money.
you asked me a question.
I answered it. You can
where
generate
does
money.
Okay, I understand you can generate money because I said it. Where does it
Through
come
work.
from?
Through work.
Where? You asked me.
Through work. I'm telling you.
No, where does the money come from? Not how do you get the money. Where does it come from?
It comes from being paid from the state.
The state,
whatever.
the government gives you the money? Okay, so if you're
The
working...
state pays you for the work. Like, say you're chopping down trees, or you might be building cars or something in the jail.
So why you can't take that same money? If you're a lifer and
Go
you're
ahead.
working, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're only going to spend the money in the canteen.
Yeah.
You're only
So
going
you
to...
think you should have the privilege to buy
I
other
think
stuff.
they should give them the opportunity to spread your compound. You can't go anywhere. You can't. Is this like if you... A man is going to live his life 20 to 25 years, the rest of his life, maybe 50, God bless, inside a caged brick wall. It is wrong for that man that every once in a while that he can't walk into a grocery store. Now this privilege can't be for everybody, because everybody's not going to be saying he went out. Everybody's not the same. Everybody's not going to be able to treat walking into that grocery store the same, or going in there to be able to supermarket and buy steaks and things like. They should have that privilege.
They should have privileges.
They should have privileges.
Well, that's your opinion.
My whole thing is...
I know there's millions of people that disagree with that.
If you don't believe that an animal can change, why do you have reform?
Reform is for those who either qualify. How you got reform for someone? I don't get that one. I don't agree with you.
Listen, I agree with to the point where you're telling me that there's some people you just can't put through the reform program.
That don't qualify for the
They
reform.
just don't
Somebody
require-
just killed 3,
Forget
10,
about-
whatever.
You keep going by
Their crime?
You keep judging a person by his crime. You're
Yeah.
not judging him by his reform.
What reform? He doesn't get reform.
What if he did that? What if he did that killing 15 years ago, but he's not the same?
He's
You gonna
paying
keep
for the
ju-
crime that he did 15
We
years ago.
understand about the
Okay.
crime because he's doing life.
Okay.
Now, where does the compassion of a man doing life? Because he's doing life, he should live harsh?
Certain states feel that way.
It doesn't. It's not about what a state feels. It's about, we always talk about civil liberties and human rights.
Exactly.
Now, I'm asking you, where does the criminal reform program worry about human life or civil liberties? It doesn't. This is the reason why I always talk about this stuff. This program is nothing but a tax break for the rich, because they are the ones who put into the program.
But they're not the ones that need this help.
That's why the rich get involved before anybody else, because they can afford to spend the money and the resources for the research. That's why you see a lot of these celebrities and stuff getting involved with the innocent crime thing. It's the kickback on the taxes. You laughing?
Yeah. I don't even care about the kickbacks. I care that there is a reform.
Hey man, the more
For somebody-
people you prove are innocent, the more money you get back. The more donations, the more things you
Okay.
put in, and it's a good thing.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, it's a good thing.
That's what I'm talking about.
But
The results.
my whole thing is, what do you do with the brothers after you prove that they didn't do the crime?
What they're doing. They paying them off and hoping that things could get better for them.
Such as?
I just saw something I was watching just
So we
earlier
don't-
today where a guy was getting a check for they wrongly accused him for 36 years of his life. And
Okay,
he
but
just
what-
got out like this month.
So
or
what
something.
happens after the check?
I don't know. I'm not part of the reform. I don't know the details.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure he has. He'll have a lot of things available to him.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure he'll have a lot of things available to him if he needed. I don't think you're right though. That is something to look into, because does he come out with unlimited medical? Does he have unlimited medical card?
People think when a person comes home for doing they wrong conviction and they cut them these checks, 150,000 and 250,000.
750,000. They've been 6-9 million.
I
Somebody
ain't
been
seen
there.
nobody get no.
I don't know what.
Yeah, go ahead, look it up. Because I ain't seen nobody.
I don't know what you.
I ain't
I'm
seen
saying.
nobody come on with
Okay.
that type of money. Let me put in wrong conviction. I ain't see nobody come home with that type of money. Shit.
Okay.
Yeah, I gotta see this. Wrong conviction. Let's see this sheet. Ooh, excuse me.
Facts.
Drinking
bro.
that pineapple soda, that joint will tear you down. What happens if you're wrongly convicted? Okay, here you go.
Go ahead. Tell me what you got.
The
going.
federal wrongful conviction compensation statute is the only statute that offers higher compensation for those who spend time on death row. Under the federal statute, a person can be rewarded up to $50,000 per year for wrongful imprisonment and up to $100,000 per year on death row. So I don't know where you get the millions.
What do you get? It's a certain amount you get per day. I forgot.
Okay, so it says he can be rewarded up to $50,000 per person of a wrongful.
50,000 per person. That's crazy.
per year. I mean,
No.
for every wrongful
Okay, so
imprisonment.
time 36 years.
So in other words, they can.
You right. Times the time 36 years.
Yeah, but it's not 50,000. It say can be rewarded up to
Okay.
50,000.
Mm-hmm.
So they can give you anywhere from 10,000 to
No.
50,000.
No.
No. Shit. Okay, let's go to the next question. How much do you get for being wrongly accused? Let's get that. Some states, such as Wisconsin, pay as little as $5,000 per year at the federal level. That exonerated are entitled to $50,000 per year in compensation for wrong. Everybody doing the $50,000. You get up to 50,000 if they fit. If the lawyer's that good, that's how that sounds to me. If your lawyer's that good, he can get up to that. If he's great, he can walk away with millions, man. So I don't know. And who do you sue? You sue the state? You see,
of course.
and this is where I don't understand, because it says there are several legal claims that come into play when someone is falsely accused for wrongly prosecuted for a crime. The most common are civil claims based on either defamation of character or malicious prosecution and or false imprisonment. See, they make you put in a civil claim because your civil rights, but why are you not able to put in your civil liberty claims or your human rights claims?
Maybe they don't know about that, or maybe that's all wrapped in one.
It can't be wrapped in civil rights because that's all. See, people don't know, man, and I guarantee you the lawyers who do this shit too, who know, they don't want to help you with that. It's easier for them to get that kickback than you get that kickback. I know that for a fact. Sometimes you gotta have a lawyer watching lawyers so you don't go broke. I learned that from Biggie. Big Papa. Says what leads to why does wrongful happen? How many innocent people have been executed? Ain't that something? So what about? Okay, so here's something that's important too for prison reform. What about the mistakes where they hit death row? The Death Row Penalty Information Center, U.S. has published that list of 10 inmates executed but possibly innocent. Of all executions in the United States, 144 prisoners have been executed while on death row. So, let me ask you this. It's a good question when I read that. If you have a person who's finds out was wrongly convicted and you put him on death row and you execute him, should his family
get money? Yeah.
Yes. How much?
I don't know. I can't put him a dollar.
Wow, man.
Oh, this one said man got 1.1
He got
million.
$1.1 million.
Yeah. Man
wrong.
He spent 17 years in prison in doppelganger case, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
He seeks. I mean, he didn't get it.
He ain't get it.
He seeks 1.1 million. Oh, so
you see what I'm trying to tell you about the prison reform? The prison reform goes all the way to the top of wrong conviction. If you read the bill, they're just trying to get your man. People better start waking up and start paying attention to what
eyewitness identification,
about
payroll, and many 75% of conviction overthrown, DNA testing.
Everything has a meaning. Everything has a reason. Okay, here go. A California man spent 39 years in prison, gets $21 million.
There you go.
Here go one. I found one.
I said that. I said 39 years.
You did it. So I'm going to take that back. I recant. Mm-hmm. We do have some people who get millions.
I told you. How much did you get?
But he's white.
Oh, so
that makes a difference.
Oh, okay.
A California man was wrongly convicted for killing an ex-girlfriend and her son for decades ago, has reached a $21 million settlement with the city of Semi Valley, officials said. Semi, S-I-M-I. Semi? Could be Semi.
They don't say the state?
California.
Oh.
His name is, hold on.
Careful.
Greg Cooley. He's 71. Hey, $21 million. If Daddy didn't want that published, why you put it out there? That's Greg Cooley.
That's his video?
That's his video. 71 years old.
21 million. So only one prize with his kids right now.
Let me see if we can.
That was him when he went to jail?
That was him when he went to jail. Let me see if
and he allegedly killed his mother. What? Not his mother. His
girlfriend and her son.
Murder. He did not commit. He will now.
Nah, it ain't coming too clear. But he allegedly supposed to have killed her and her son. My man got $21 million. He settled. He must have had to went for at least 50, 60 million to get 21 million, baby. He got 21. He probably don't even know what to do with that money. It's been a good show. We should call somebody. Yeah, let's call. Let me look at the list. Who should we call?
You want to call, find out how they day going.
Somebody.
Find out if they having a woody woo day.
Luciano, Luciano cut himself off. He don't want to talk.
Yeah.
We need to call somebody. You gotta go to the friends list because ain't nobody over here look like they want to talk. You know what? I called Marley the other day. Let's call Jamal Fisher.
Where
You got the name. You gotta look at
I
it.
don't see him. I thought you saw his name. I didn't see his name.
I mean, where he at? He got the control. I'm sitting here. Jamal Fisher. He might be off. Yeah, he not on.
Oh, there you go. Oh, you never know. Mike is still calling.
He ain't on. I called him yesterday.
There you go.
See if he answer. He was like, Randy. Nah, Marley, we can put you on.
What's up, Randy?
What's going on, Marley? What's happening, man? We got you on the show live, baby.
What's going on, Marley? It's Tone. Marley, you there?
Yo, Randy.
Yo, what up, Marley?
Can you hear us?
Hold on. Yeah, you can hear me?
Yeah, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right.
What's going on, Marley? We got you live on the podcast today, baby.
Oh, okay, good.
What's going on with you? How's everything?
So far, so good, my brother.
It's good, man.
He was talking about prison reform. Criminal justice reform. People getting out of jail, trying to adjust to society.
I think that's a good thing.
Amen. Do you
I
think?
definitely think that's a good thing. The question should be, do you think that they should vote? Like prisoners that's already in jail, do you think they should have the right
That's
to vote?
being that you said that, he happened to mention that.
I said the same thing. See?
But I tried to explain to him that once you get incarcerated, a lot of rights that you would normally have, you don't have.
Well, they're trying to change that.
That's what the prison reform is?
Say that again?
That's what you believe the prison reform is? Or the criminal justice reform?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You see it, and I tried to explain to him, you can't have a reform without the prisoners. How can you have a bill for them where they're not allowed to vote or participate?
Yeah.
And his thing was, because that they're criminals, they don't have the right. They don't deserve that.
I said they lose a lot of rights by being incarcerated.
But
No, he's saying they lose. Yeah, I see what you're saying, Tony.
Mm-hmm.
I see what you're saying. That's what happened. But look, they're trying to change that. I hope that they do change it because. Hold on, I'm sorry, because I'm driving at the same time.
okay, well, take your time, Marlon. We don't want nothing to happen to you. You know you are a photographer, man. Please don't let nothing happen to you.
We're not into road news yet.
Take your time, man. Take your time, brother.
Yeah, I'm trying.
I'm about to say what you're doing over there.
Are you driving the what's the name? Are you with the older people?
That's a
today?
ride.
Yeah, you with the older people today?
Huh?
You got passengers?
No, I won't be on the phone. I'm not. No.
Oh, okay. we had to check on you, bro. We had to check on you. That's why you heard me say you got passengers.
I wonder if you know anybody that can get their CDL licenses. They can come out of prison. They just can't be. They can't be on parole or probation.
Mm-hmm.
They can come and sign up. And my company is starting the new drivers off with $18 an hour.
Wow, that's not bad.
The CDL is $117 when you pass the test.
Wow.
And that's the B, right? The B class. I think you was telling me before.
No, that's the C. That's the C. I wish it was the B.
Oh, the B is the one that to drive multiple people. I mean, over 15.
Yeah, that's the B.
Oh, okay.
The C is when you drive less than, I believe it's less than 8.
Oh, okay.
And you can't drive anything over 8,000 pounds.
Oh, okay. I got you.
You know, but I know y'all was talking about the prison reform, and all that stuff, you know.
Well, we
But,
just
I think it's a good thing to have the inmates. I think it's a good thing to have the inmates vote.
yeah.
To have the inmates vote.
Because it definitely will let everyone know exactly what they're looking for and what they need in order to succeed and not to come back. I agree.
Right.
I agree.
Okay. Now the other part of his conversation.
You might scare the hell out of the Republicans. You might scare the hell out of the Republicans.
I say that too, because you already know what we up against. But
Republicans say, "Oh hell no."
you know they're not gonna allow that.
No, of course not. They would never make it. They would have to. Do you believe that they should get rid of the electoral vote?
Yes. Yes.
And this is, you know what? This is a discussion, right? This is a discussion that you guys should bring up. I'm gonna just touch on it just a pinch, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Please.
So look, I believe that if our vote, do you believe? And I want you to think about this. Do you believe that our vote counts?
To a certain extent.
Yeah, because I believe to calculate.
It's kind of like a yes or no question, no in between.
Individual, no. I would think together,
No.
yes.
No.
So Hillary Clinton, right?
Yes.
Hold on. Hillary Clinton won the popular vote,
Right.
but that fool in office, he
Well,
won
the
the electoral vote.
electoral vote.
So if she won the popular vote, why do you think people are upset and say that their vote don't count? You understand what I'm saying?
Because
If we voted and you say our vote count, why isn't Hillary in office?
I would like to say that I think it's because majority of the popular votes were minorities. And then I think they don't want people to really recognize how strong the minority group is. And the fact of the women.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, for him to win electoral votes means that they didn't have to take votes from the minorities or women.
So, right. If I'm just trying to, I just wanted somebody else's perspective. You know, if they said, like I said, if they say our vote counted, so that means Donald Trump wouldn't have got no votes. Let's just say he didn't get no popular votes, nothing. He probably got 5 or 2, and that's his family.
Well,
As long as he gets the electoral vote, that's it. He wins.
well, the thing
So
was,
should we focus more on the electoral vote? I can't talk.
that's okay. Listen, you go ahead and
Well-
drive. We're going to hang up because we don't want nothing to happen. And
Yeah, I know. I'm tongue twisted right now.
no, you're not. You sound
That's all
accent.
right.
That's okay. But
I'm passing. All right.
we're definitely going to touch on that because that's a very good topic, Molly. And thank you for answering the call to Living Room TRT, man. We're going to try to get in touch with you. That's checking in with Molly, people. Talk to you later, Molly Mar.
All right, Marlon.
What, brother? So basically, he confirmed what I was arguing with you
He
about.
agreed.
He
with
confirmed.
me. It ain't no
He
confirmation.
confirmed
It ain't no
that
confirmation.
they need to let these people vote and stop playing
He ain't
games with these
confirmed. He
people.
agreed with you. I can go with
These
that.
people need to
that
vote.
they need to vote.
There's no way you can have a reform without having the people who need to be reformed involved.
We're not sure if they did vote or not.
They did not vote.
They
man.
did not vote. Okay,
No,
that
they-
you know for a fact. Has
Yes.
that been confirmed?
Yes.
Okay.
They did. They said the same thing like you said. You don't deserve to vote because you were a criminal. You said the same thing they said. You don't deserve to vote because you are a criminal. And that hurts. What you do just now?
I don't know.
What are you doing? X out of this. X out of it.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah, man. I already
Relax.
You got to. Because
Relax.
when you do that, I'm lost. I don't know what
No,
to
you ain't
follow.
lost.
Okay, I'm with you. You with me now.
Uh-huh.
All right, well, here.
Let's test you.
And you see, this right here goes. it's going to go far, and like I tell a lot of people, don't really pay attention to a lot of things that they talk about, and a lot of things. It was one of them things like I was having a discussion with this guy at my job, and he went on to say that if you watch what the left hand is doing up here, you'll never see what the right hand is doing down there. And I thought it was a great assessment because there's something going on that we're not paying attention to. And the prison reform, the churches are burning, Donald Trump with the taxes, which I thought was crazy. Bless you, brother.
Thank you.
His taxes. How does a person lose that many? And I really don't see why that bothers anybody, to be honest with you. I guess they're trying to say that how does a person lose that type of taxes and get up to run the world? So I don't know.
I guess the electrical votes.
Listen, everybody does what it is.
They got that. They got Russia. They talking about. They got a whole lot of things they talking about.
I know that Marley brought up a good point, though. I like that, though. Maybe we should talk about the electoral votes and things like that. Don't do that. You about to do that?
No, I don't know.
Oh.
Oh, man.
Oh man, we still on the air too. I'm sitting there, I'm watching you two. I said, no, he ain't about to do that. He said, no, hell no.
You don't even know who that was.
I know who that was.
Oh,
I was looking right at the name. That's why I said, yo, you about to do that? He said, no, hell no. I said, damn, that'd have been one hell of a thing to go with on the air. But you gotta go to the friends list so I can see. No. Go up here to the friends list, to the people. We see the people.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now scroll down. I gotta see who our friends are. I gotta go to our friends. Go to the homepage. that was funny right there. I tell you, man, these people are trying to sneak a lot of this stuff behind people with this scroll. So I can. You gotta go there. Right, hit friends, man. Oh man. Ooh, wait a minute. Come on back.
I seen it.
All right, here we go. Friends. Hit that list.
How many of us have down?
See, we can't call these people in surprise. No. Should we call them? You should call Michelle. You know what? Call Miss Wade. Let's call Miss Wade. Message. What are you? If you message. Oh, man. No, you crazy. Be patient. Let me help you out.
I got it.
Hit the message. Hit it. Hit it right there. Let's see if she answers. She probably gonna say, "Why you ain't coming to work today, Mr. Richard?" Oh man. Let's see if she answers.
I think she will.
Unless she ain't. Let's see.
Hello?
Miss Wade, good evening.
I can't hear you.
You can.
Hello?
Good evening, Miss Wade.
Can you hear me now?
Hello?
Yes.
Yes.
Hello. Good evening.
Hey, good evening.
Good
How
evening.
are you? Oh, you sound so proper on the phone. How are you this evening?
I'm fine. I'm blessed.
Well, we wanted to call our biggest supporter for Living Room TRT. We finally got our communication and stuff together, so you finally got a chance to be on the show. So you know you live right now.
Oh, shucks.
You know you're on. Is there something you would like to talk about while you got the air to yourself?
First, tell her what we was talking about already.
Yeah, tell me what y'all was talking about.
We was talking about we was talking about justice reform.
Criminal justice reform.
Okay, what was y'all saying? So,
I don't want you. Hold on. Before we get into all of that, I want to talk about what's on your mind, Miss Wade, because you're always throwing topics at me while we at work. So, what you thinking about right now? Remember, you on air, so be nice.
always nice. Don't have the people thinking I'm not nice.
I didn't think the people think nothing.
It's funny because today a friend of mine, we was discussing how he was saying how people big up Mother's Day. Like, you know, it's such a big thing for Mother's Day. And then when Father's Day comes, you have single mothers that bash Father's Day. Like, the fathers don't get the same respect or acknowledgement as the mothers. And I had to totally agree with him. And I was like, that's kind of unfair because you have that men out here that are great fathers and also are single fathers too.
Mm-hmm.
And he was saying, you know, he never seen nobody, especially on social media, bashing mothers on Mother's Day. But when Father's Day comes, he's like, call the partner because let me tell you, that's begins.
Mm-hmm.
But why do you think that is? Why do you think fathers don't get the recognition they deserve?
Because I'm gonna be honest, you have a lot of grown women that are scorned because they have children with men and the relationship didn't work out and they just haven't mature enough, got over that it just didn't work.
I thank you for your recognition for the good fathers that are out here.
Yes, I know a lot of men that are excellent fathers, good fathers. It's not as many deadbeats as society, as social media make it seem, especially in the African American community. I know a lot of brothers that have stepped up, been stepping up for years, have all in their children's life, 100%.
You're right,
Never
too.
from day one.
And the flip side to that is there are some deadbeat mothers out here also.
Yes, you're absolutely right. I'm glad you said it because it was going through my mind. I was about to say it.
What was the hesitation?
When it comes to parenting,
Mm-hmm.
it's a two-headed sword.
Mm-hmm.
You know? That's a two-headed sword. You have your good and you have your bad with both parents.
You're right.
Both
on both flips of the coin.
Ms. Wade, I knew calling you was a good idea this evening. I said there was no way that we could fix our communication and not get in touch with our number one supporter.
And we might add that on Saturday's show.
I'm happy for you guys. Hope it goes further.
We're trying. We're going to put forth that effort.
We're going to have to get you on the show. We're going to have to let you sit in one of these seats. Get comfortable and let your soul out, sister, because I know that's what you want to do.
Hit you with a surprise topic or something.
Of course, but if y'all want to talk about, the prison reform, I mean, I'm for it. You understand? People that can, there's a lot of people that can benefit from it.
Right. That's basically what I was explaining.
Yeah, I mean, if you got some people that they committed petty crimes, like, they might have boosted something, stole something, or they might have gotten a fight at a club or something, defending themselves, then I think it should be for them. You understand? I don't think it should be for people that's committing murder or, anything.
You know what's funny? Not to cut you off, you know what's funny? Because Tone was saying that, too, that if a person, because he kept saying it, too, that a person who commits mass murder should not be given, he shouldn't be given any type of privilege.
He shouldn't qualify for it.
He shouldn't qualify for that type of program. In which I agree. But how long does he not qualify for the program? Like, if he committed these murders 20 years ago, should he not be allowed to participate in the program?
Okay, the first thing that I want to add into that is that the individual that he killed doesn't have the option for the program either.
I understand that.
So I just want to throw that out there.
So then how does he reform himself if you're not going to give him a chance?
But he doesn't get the reform. This is what the argument we had
So he
before.
should just live in prison for the rest of his life.
Just like the person living in the ground for the rest of theirs.
I agree. If you do you really think Ted Bundy qualifies to be reformed?
But see, here's the thing: Ted Bundy is a serial killer. So a person who commits premeditated murder on a constant basis, no.
What if he just premeditated on one murder?
But if a person who robs a house and he makes a decision to kill everyone in the house, at that particular time, then you got to give that person at least 20 years option of knowing that, listen, what you did was wrong.
You sound crazy.
Yeah,
Wait,
thank
no,
you.
No, you don't.
Thank you. Go ahead.
You should be allowed to reform yourself.
No, you just said killed everybody in the house, and that's the same example I came up with.
Nah,
I said if he
man.
tied up the family.
Let me say this.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
You can't use that as an example because that person thought about it. First of all, you violating my space, my property. You broke into my house, and then you're gonna rob me and my family, and then murder us.
Yeah, because a person.
And then you deserve a chance for criminal justice reform?
Hold on, because a person who normally does home invasion doesn't necessarily look for murder. Sometimes that's just something that happens in the course of the home invasion.
Yeah, you hear him?
If you was just coming to rob me, you wouldn't have a gun or a knife or nothing. You
There
would
you
just
go.
leave
But
the
with most-
window and take what you want and climb back out the window. Randy, you can't use that as
You
can't.
you talking about the murder that he just happened to kill the whole family?
Everybody-
Why you killed him? They was home.
Go ahead.
Right or wrong, it doesn't even make sense. Because all he had to do was sit and watch for me and my family to leave, break in and take what he want, or come through the window, creep through, take what he want, and leave. But he comes in my house, robs me or whatever, and then intentionally comes into each bedroom and kill us. You think they need to be
They deserve some reform.
All I'm saying to you is after a certain amount of time, he doesn't deserve no type of reform in his life.
No, them people not getting no reform.
He's not mentally ill. He's not mentally ill. They're not mentally ill.
He's just supposed to spend the rest of his life in prison.
Yes, he took from.
Wow.
I'm surprised you have a question about that.
Yes, I do.
I guess you would have to be the victim.
Then you shouldn't have a prison reform bill.
The prison reform is not for everybody, just like work release. Just like work release is not for everybody. Somebody doing 15 years of life cannot get work release.
Well, then it must not be for nobody because the prisons are overcrowded.
They're overcrowded for a lot of different reasons.
Listen. The prisons is overcrowded because they are putting people in prison that don't belong there. It's a lot of people sitting in prison because of the color of their skin, not because they committed a crime.
That's the reform.
And that's going to be our next show, so that's a good point.
It's not overcrowded with people that committed crimes. You got people that should be in jail walking the street because of the color of their skin. Prime example, some man, it was just on the news. He held a woman captured, had her in a cage, sexually abused her. He got probation. He needs to be in a jail cell.
Wow.
Of course he's not African American. Of course he's not Hispanic.
He's
Wow.
Caucasian.
I mean, okay.
Yes.
Okay, I said the proper word.
Yeah.
I said Caucasian.
Yeah, I know. I'm not saying that. I'm saying what else did you think it was? You was gonna go through the whole Indian and Asian and all of that too?
Miss Wade,
What?
we want to thank you for
She
taking.
got attitude with you right
She always
now.
got attitude. That's how she talks to me. It's okay. We want to thank you for taking our
Said
call.
what?
And this is why we always clash, because he be saying crazy stuff.
I didn't even say anything. You
Now
listening?
she got a friend.
First,
We
hold
really
on.
friends now.
Time out. You listening to him? You said what? I didn't respond to that. I was saying thank you for taking our call. I appreciate you taking the call.
It was your
and
prior
giving
comment
us,
that she has the conflict with.
and giving us your insight.
Exactly. It's
Sister.
the statement you made.
I'm giving you an air 5 right now.
Sister.
Thank you.
I mean, come on with the double team. But listen to
Nobody double team. And see, Randy, that's the thing with you. I keep telling you, I've known you over 12 years.
oh Lord.
You not be one track mind. You
Oh,
want to
my
get up on
God.
the court, everybody got to say, Randy, you're right. You're right.
Miss Wade,
Yes.
you know we're gonna call you next Thursday to be on the show, right?
All right. Of course.
Well, you know we appreciate you. And listen, we are going to do the next show is wrongly convicted. So please join in on that. We're going to call you. We're going to call you a little early. Instead of calling you towards the end, we'll call you in the middle. I just thought you might have been in the middle of your work. I know how you do.
All right.
Okay? No, I appreciate you too.
Thanks for sharing with us.
Okay.
All right, later.
Have a good night.
Good night.
Good night. We're going to wrap up tonight.
Yeah, that was a closer right there.
That was, man, Lord have mercy.
That
That
was
is
a
Miss
close
Wade.
one,
But
yeah.
she is definitely our biggest supporter. So I can take that from her. We go and we go back and forth all the time. She always tells me that I talk too much. I don't let you talk enough. But she don't know that when you go into your Billy D mode, I got to take over sometimes.
We just met verbally on the group chat.
Oh,
We friends right
geez.
now. Shout out to Miss Wade.
Lord have mercy.
Yeah. Got somebody see my side and know you.
Listen, before
Feel my pain.
Feel his pain. Feel his pain, sister. Before we go tonight, I just want to let y'all know we will be running at least 12 hours starting next month. Our radio station will be moving 87.9. We'll be moving from the weekends. From
Not WTRT 87.9 Longfellow Radio.
Longfellow Radio. We'll be running that from 7 o'clock Friday to 6 o'clock Monday morning. So that's almost, 42 hours of straight radio?
Damn.
Yeah.
More than that.
That's more than that. So if you got some
So
ads or
Friday to
anything.
Monday.
Friday to Monday. So
You talking about
we're going to give
76?
everybody time to get your app together. We're going to explain to you how you can get the app for the phone. We're going to explain to you how you can download it on your computer so you'll be able to listen to us and enjoy our radio show.
Might even have some special gifts, some portable radios that we're going to be giving out in the neighborhood.
And shout out to the people who watch us on the YouTube, and shout out to our Facebook fans. Now that we got our communication different from Facebook, we'll be doing the call-ups, as you heard from Marley and Miss Wade tonight. So periodically, if you don't mind and you want us to call you up, give us a shout-out on the Facebook and let us know, yo, when you're doing the show, call me up. I want to know. We'll put out the topic of the night and what we're talking about, and call up. It's okay. You get your response there. Until then,
Have a woody woo day.
we going to bank out on the
Today
boogie.
was a woody woo day.
I'm going to play a classic. We ain't hear our commercial in a minute.
Go on, put it on. Shout out to Paul Masson. There we go.
Oh, you want some Paul Masson too?
Why not?
You know, my Paul Masson comes with some tea. You might not have wanted the way I drink it.
So you just be selfish on it, huh?
I'm going to be what I want to be. It's my drink.
You gonna do the Paulies like that?
And listen, it's the official drink of WTRT 87.9 on your FM dial. If they can't drink it my way, they don't drink it no way.
So I guess you must know how we live. If that's how we live, I got my own in my bag.
Well, then you got your own in your bag.
I just thought you was willing to share.
Well, listen, I like that apple flavor, man. I don't know what you drinking, brother.
That's just how it goes on 87.9
Yeah.
WTRT
Paul Masson, official drink. Live
Longfellow Radio.